Hello. This video is going to show you how to create smart views in order to view one section at a time in your grade center. Many of you have expressed disappointment in the grade center in that when you open it up and look at your students, you're going to see all of your students all at the same time. Now, because the last time I was in this section, it was I had sorted it by child class ID. This is the way you'd see it, but normally if you leave your Blackboard, the first time you come in, it's in student order regardless of what section they're in. Now we know that we can click the child class ID column header and it will sort it in order by student, or by section rather, and then by student. But when we leave the course again and come back, it's back out of order. Plus, if you've got 3 or 4 or 5 sections with 30 students in each section, it still becomes unwieldy to deal with it this way. So we're going to talk about something called Smart Views, which will allow you to just at one at a time to view your sections by themselves. There's 2 ways to do that. The easiest way to do it, unfortunately, is not currently working, and Blackboard has promised us that by the end of the school year, and certainly before next school year, that will be working. But for right now, what we need to do is do an interim step, which is to create groups of students. And we do that by going over to users and groups, and we go to groups, and we want to create a group. And the first group that we create, well, we're going to select manual enroll because we don't want the students to enroll themselves into the groups. We're going to call this period 1. And this could be period A, period B, period F, whichever way that you want to refer to it. And we're going to now select the membership in that class. And each student is listed with the child class ID that they're enrolled in. The ones that do not show a child class ID are in the first section, or the master course. So we're going to start with those that show no child class ID. We're just going to select them and hit the arrow to move them over to the selection. And the only other thing we need to do with this, well, actually, that's all we need to do with this group. We can just submit that. Now we're going to create the second and third groups. Again, manual enroll. This is going to be period 2. And we're going to select all of the students that are in section 2, which is that middle number. So we're going to select each one of those and create this group. And this is that one-time investment we need to do this year, but we won't need to do that next year. Next year we'll just skip this step, and I'll show you where we're going to use the child class ID to create our smart view. But again, this is for now. If you want to get started on this now, this is a way to do it for the remainder of the year. So now we're creating period 3, and we're going to select the section 3 students. That 03 is in the second set of numbers. And submit, and we're done with creating our groups. It's a one-time investment. Groups can be used for a number of different things, so it's not necessarily a wasted investment to set up these groups by section, but again, we won't need to do that next year to get the smart views. So now back to the Grade Center, we go to the Manage button, and we're going to now select Smart Views. And you can see that there's some created smart views that Blackboard gives you, but we're going to create our own new smart views, and we're going to call it period 1, the first one. We don't need to put anything in the description. We're going to check the add as a favorite, and that's going to give us easier access to this. So now the type of view is where we would use criteria to create the group. Now we're going to use a custom build, and as you can see, you have a lot of choices here. Now that first choice is child class ID, and again, this is not working right now, but Blackboard tells us it's going to work next year. Here's where you just put in the beginning part of the section code to pull all the students in that section. But because that's not working, we're going to base it based on groups. And you can see that once we select group, that the values, the three groups that we created are shown in the values. So now we're going to select group 1. And then the only other thing that we need to do is to tell it which columns to show with this Smart View. And we're just going to say all columns shown to users. And that would exclude the columns that you have hidden already from your view to make it easier for you to use. So now we have to create the other two Smart Views, period 2 and again we're going to make this a favorite, and that's going to help us see the Smart View easier, access it easier. So we're going to go down to group again, and now we're going to pick period 2, and again we're going to pick all columns that are visible. Submit, and finally the third section. Build. And we're going to again select the group. This is going to be group 3. Selecting all columns that are shown, and we're going to submit. So now if we go back to our grade center, one of the things you're going to notice is as looking at this, you're going to see, because we made them favorites, period 1, 2, and 3 are going to show on the main screen, so we have an easy, quick access to those students. As you can see, if I pick the full grade center, I'm still seeing all my students and all of their sections. But now if I go to period 1, I see just those 3 students that I selected for period 1. I don't have to change the sorting or anything else. There's period 2, and finally period 3. So again, the Smart Views make it much easier to work with the Grade Center when we have multiple sections merged together. This is an easy, quick way to create your groups and Smart Views, and it'll be even easier next year when Blackboard fixes that problem. Thanks.